This video's unpaid sponsor is my mother. I first experienced the horrifying truth about these stone sentinels during my playthrough of Twilight Princess all those years ago. That feels like a lifetime ago, where 12-year-old me would sit down after homeschooling hours and any break she could get just to play this game that may or may not have been a little too mature, as in, I did not have the intellect to comprehend even 70% of what the story was about, or the lore and basic game mechanics. They were everywhere. These machines were everywhere. In the places you least expect them to be. In the places that not just any simpleton can physically reach or pass through without the appropriate gear. Lurketh, did they in the shadows, in the corners where your eyes could not reach in your field of vision, unknowingly, while fighting off the heat of the flames of Goron mines, or amazed by the smooth, pristine stones of the Temple of Time. Your back is arrogantly turned to the danger, exposed. You do not see the red dot pinned on your back, laser focused on your would-be demise. You don't notice the glaring red eye of empty emotions, unblinking and glossy with the element of unlife. It stares at you, gathering up energies from the particles in the air powered by an evil magic. The moment you turn around and spot sight of the beam of red light, the screaming sensation of danger from wolf instincts settles like cold water over hot skin. Like an ethereal arrow, it's focused on your form. No matter which way your feet take you, it won't leave. It was dragging you. Yes, I think by now you all know what I am talking about. Those gosh darn BMOs. I swear, it took me the longest time to figure out that the eye was the weak point. I tried bouncing the beam back at it with the shield, I tried using bombs, I even tried using the sword to damage it, but all of Link's swings just, irritatingly bounced off. Ugh. But, reminder, I was an immature 12-year-old. The BMOs threw my mind onto a roller coaster and it was a painful one at that. So frustrating. But what exactly are BMOs? Let me explain real quick. But first, a little word from today's unpaid sponsor. Are you depressed? Tired of nothing going right for you? Tired of never attracting positivity? Tired of that boyfriend or girlfriend who keeps ignoring your texts or treats you in a way you don't deserve? Are you ready to make a difference in your life and thrive emotionally for once? My mother is a counselor who can help you out with that. She's not here to point the finger or lecture. She's merely here as a teacher and guiding role of wisdom in your lives should you wish for her service. Having gone through abuse herself and the rigorous process to healing from that trauma, she's here to help you all out with the same dark pit that you might find yourselves in. Follow the links below to travel to her YouTube where you can freely watch her videos, or follow the link to her Instagram where you can contact her with questions on how to better your life emotionally, or how to deal with traumatic relationships. You will get an answer, and one that will help you. So what are you waiting for? Go shine some light in your lives today, and go seek out her words of wisdom. BMOs are a mechanized, autonomous enemy with no real will of their own, merely programmed to target anything human or trespasser-like that crosses their line of sight. The singular way in which they attack is by a tracking mechanism installed within their hardware, and a laser beam housed in the lens of their singular eye. The way in which BMOs are designed is quite something, honestly. They are a singular column of otherwise impenetrable material. Varying designs of them leave with their entire body turning on a clockwise route, or just their heads. This rotating movement acts as their scan programming. Their single crystal eye scans about the room they are in, and if something crosses their line of sight, they target and fire. Remember I mentioned the horrifying truth about these things? Well, imagine if you are locked in a room with no arrows with which to pierce their eye, and no other means are possible of defeating this foe. Yeah, horrifying. I had to leave the temple to get more. Oh, wait, no. That was towards the Stalfos in Arbiter's grounds when I ran out of bombs. Well, same basic idea. The B-mails are not seen everywhere within the world of Twilight Princess, and I digress. I cannot remember every and all places with which to find them. But Death Mountain and the Temple of Time for sure had them. Twilight Princess wasn't the only place with which to find these annoying pillars of chaotic laser energy, however. He can find them in Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, I think, Breath of the Wild, minus Hyrule Warriors, because that's not a canon game, and I mean, count it if you want to, but I don't have to. I hear it in your head.
But Scarlet, where have we ever seen a BMOS of what you describe in Breath of the Wild?
Well, I mean, unless you are a 12-year-old with a peanut brain like how I was, then you aren't going to see them for what they really are. But take a look at this. BMOS have evolved like Pokemon! Just kidding. But in a way, they have evolved. Let me go through what's remained the same and what's changed. Okay, so all of us who have played Zelda games is well acquainted with the pillar-like, stuck-to-your-spot, death-eyed BMOS, with its tracking abilities, which you cannot get out of unless you obstruct its sight with another object large enough to shield your entire body. That sounds familiar. The Guardian Stalkers are nothing more than modified BMOS, redesigned in the way of given legs and a far more powerful range and blast radius of its laser. They still have a rotating head and body. They still have that singular eye which shoots out a devastating attack. And they would probably have remained as a column if not for the urn-like shape, which was added to help support the 7? 8? How many legs does it have? Another rather terrifying addition is, if Link goes to hide behind a tree, the Guardian will follow to where it saw him vanish. It will straight up walk towards the very trunk of the tree, legs extending past the organic shield that so easily could become firewood, and investigate the area. How is that not terrifying? Oh, and also the fact that normal weapons do not harm them, unless it's the Master Sword or an arrow. Nintendo, you sure do know how to make a terrifying enemy even more terrifying. Now, the main question to ask would be, why were they modified? A very good question, dear viewers. I'm glad you asked. Over the uncountable eons within lore of Zelda history, the places that the initial form of BMOS would have been set long vanished from the face of Hyrule. The temples and long-forgotten ruins. Aside from the Forgotten Temple in Hyrule's massive gorge, and what remains of Ocarina of Time's Temple of Time atop the Great Plateau, there are no temples or historical places of grand significance to which intense security would be needed. Because of this, the Sheikah redesigned their autonomous weapons to be free to traverse the lands and the air, free of hindrance, as much as was required or set in their programming. After Calamity Ganon seized these robotic sentinels, we see them all over Hyrule, some in odd places that don't seem to hold much significance, but the largest concentration of them would be around and inside Hyrule Castle Town. This is a place of significance, acting as legitimately a temple due to the castle being in this sad state for 100 years. The Guardians guard Ganon within, roaming the fields and roads as tactical standpoints, allowing no areas breaching for any enemy to slip through. Others remain in stasis, often because they are already damaged and will simply activate when something like Link gets too close and triggers their senses. Now, as much as I would like to say that the BMOS have gone through a complete remodel, that would be a lie. And we all know theorists don't lie. The BMOS have kept the gist of their original form, even if they have gone through a different texture of remodel to match that of all the other stalkers and ancient technology in general. Within the castle's playable dungeon layout, in the courtyard, lookout towers, atop the staircase leading to Princess Zelda's bedroom, and even in front of the sanctum, there are BMOs. Column-like structures cemented to the ground, never having legs, a rotating head, and a laser eye. If this isn't a redesign yet standard model of the original concept of BMOs we've seen in games, then I don't know what it is. Anyway guys, that concludes the topic for today's video. Truthfully, I never saw the Guardians as alternative BMOs until an embarrassing amount of time after beating the game over and over again. The thought dropping into my head like some sort of divine intervention. I had a real great time doing this video though, and I hope that the contents were entertaining at the very least for you viewers. If you like my content and wish to see more, subscribe to my channel and make sure you have that bell turned on so you don't miss when I upload. It doesn't take any time at all to make these videos when on my best day, but even I need to make a living. If you feel like supporting me, then click the link in the description below to go to my DeviantArt page where I link the prices for commissions. Constant supporters will get their names featured at the end of my videos. I wish you a fantabulous rest of your day, and I will see you all next time for some more Zelda goodness. Ciao! I've forgotten how to play a bit. Come on, stop that. Oh my goodness. Been playing Darksiders way too much.